Greetings, everybody. I'm Grimnag,
I'm Frieren.
and this is that Aussie Couple. We're doing a bit of a change up to the format this week. We're going to try to just do one article per video this time. Make it so you guys can skip around easily just by picking a different video to watch.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, we'll just see how things go.
More uploads for me. Yay!
Yeah. They should be shorter upload times, though, because they should all be shorter bits.
Oh, YouTube's fine. It's just the other one that's taking a while.
I'm not sure what's going on there. But for our first one for this week, we have a article that we know about because it happened near us. Highway reopened after hundreds of cars damaged in scrap metal spill. This was here in the Sydney area, down on the M1.
Yep. And we just stopped doing that.
But it's aimed at the quieter source. I'm the louder source, so it's not supposed to be pointing at me.
Yeah, you're loud no matter where you go.
Exactly.
So, yes, a whole bunch of people on their way to work had to most likely call in sick or call in and say, hey, I can't get to work because
emergency services and cleanup crews have managed to hoover up the highway after the tires of more than 300 cars were damaged when scrap metal spilled from a truck closing a 30-kilometer stretch of motorway north of Sydney. About 750 kilograms of steel shards and shavings were strewn along the M1 Pacific Motorway just after 5 a.m. on Friday after an unknown mechanical issue with the tip truck carrying the load from Newcastle to Sydney. Yeah, it was like shredded metal bits and pieces that were being scrapped. They'd been just like through the grinder and just dumped into this truck.
Yeah,
to be moved
that
for
would have
processing.
shredded all 4 tires on all of those 300 cars.
The spillage sparked traffic chaos with all southbound lanes closed between Ourimbah and Mount White on the Central Coast. Southbound lanes were cleared and reopened by 3:15 p.m. on Friday afternoon, while northbound lanes were unaffected. Which I don't understand why I didn't just do a crossover, like shut down one lane on the northbound and let people go on that one southbound.
I don't know. Is there? Do we have? I can't remember that stretch of highway. Is there like concrete dividers in the middle so that both
They're
traffic?
split at that point because it's past the big giant. What's the bridge with the big windsock on it?
Mooney
Yeah, Mooney Bridge. It's south of Mooney, so yeah, it's more split.
or the Hawkesbury? Is the Mooney on the Hawkesbury?
No, that's the one further down.
Huh.
The Mooney's over the big open valley.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that bridge.
Yeah. Daniel Falconer, general manager of NJ Ashton Group, the company that owns the tipper truck involved, said its insurance company would cover damage to vehicles. Falconer said a mechanical issue was believed to have caused a small pieces of steel to fall from the back of the truck over several kilometers. The exact cause was unknown. Falconer said the driver had for several months completed the run, making the steel from Newcastle to Sydney without issue. We 100% do not know, he told the masthead. We've got to investigate further. Falconer apologized to the affected motorists. Thank God there's no one had a major accident or anything, he told 2GB's Ben Fordham on Friday morning. Traffic and Highway Patrol Commander Acting Superintendent Thomas Barnes said some minor collisions had occurred. We're very lucky they didn't have a fatality or serious injury this morning when it quite easily could have occurred.
Well, yeah, all those cars braking suddenly because
all their
tires were, yeah.
Barnes, who said at least 300 vehicles have been reported as damaged, urged motorists who had driven on the M1 in the area to check their tires for vehicle damage. Check their vehicles for damage. Magnetic devices were being used to clean up the steel, which had been spread along 30 kilometers of road as regular street sweepers could not pick up the material. For those in America, that's 15 miles.
And also the all those cars will probably need to get their undercarriages checked by mechanics.
Just lots of things.
Well, the tire centers and the mechanics will be having a field day.
Oh yeah. It's not just a case of getting a road sweeper out or getting guys and girls with brooms, Transport for New South Wales Coordinator General Howard Collins said. Transport for New South Wales, I know those guys. Sydney resident Matt Wrigley had waited hours for the southbound traffic to clear so he could return to the city. I noticed cars with flat tires on the other side of the road because of the obvious earlier incident, and which I'm doing just waiting it out with the ramp opens up again and I can make my way back to Sydney, Wrigley said. There's not a lot we can do, we just have to wait it out, unfortunately. Collins also urged motorists to check their vehicles if they had reached their destination. All 4 tires on some cars had been shredded, he said. There's metal everywhere, and it might be in your tires, he said. The cleanup focused on the area near the hundreds of trucks that had been stranded and could not take diversions. Footage from the motorway shows debris spilling from the back of the truck. I get to find this footage, by the way. sending sparks flying across the road. Tires of some transport and police vehicles traveling to the incident were damaged on the way, Collins said. Earlier, Collins said the truck driver had a lot of explaining to do, but Falconer said the driver had followed all normal processes, completed necessary checks, and passed drug and alcohol testing before setting out on Friday morning. He's been driving trucks for 20 years, he said. Falconer said the incident would be investigated and the company's managers were heading to the site, while its mechanics would help repair any damaged vehicles along the M1. We're just doing as much as possibly can to fix the problem, he said. Motorists are being urged to avoid the area as emergency services work to clean up debris and take the Pacific Highway at Arimba as an alternate route. Do not travel if you don't have to, Collins said. Road Minister Jenny Atkinson said the incident was unprecedented and the challenging cleanup could extend throughout Friday. And it did, because I knew people who had just beaten it, had driven down on Friday morning and come back on Friday evening. He's like, I dodged it. Totally dodged it. It's very challenging because the small pieces of metal are very hard to pick up. If you imagine it's like trying to hoover up the highway, it's very difficult. This is a very unprecedented situation, and it's happening in darkness as it did. It does have that added complication. Collins said how long the motorway would remain closed was unknown, but he assured motorists that no one is standing or sitting idly with a broom. We're onto it, he said. Atkins said the property was clearing B-double trucks to ease congestion.
You know what they would have to get though? Those big what do they call them in the US? The ones that clear the snow and the
Those are plows.
no, they've got a funny name. The ones that they use on ice hockey rinks.
Zamboni machines.
Zamboni machines with brooms in the front. I'm pretty sure we've got some here.
That's the sweeper that they were talking about.
Yeah.
So they use sweepers and they use magnets to try to collect.
Because they would have to like sweep a whole lot of road, more than what they said, because cars traveling, more
Kicked
metal.
it further along, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, pretty much it. Fines could be issued if the driver of the injured accident was found to be at fault. Again, so far everything I've heard sounds like it was all mechanical issues, and just completely unknown to the driver. Just a weird accident. Yeah.
I don't know. Mechanical failures happen all the time.
Yeah, well,
they're good one day and not the next.
This one was just because, for those who don't know, the roads between the Central Coast and Sydney are basically, there's one road. It's basically the M1.
Between Newcastle and Sydney.
Yeah. There's basically only
Central
one.
Coast.
Yeah, but this came at the Central Coast, which is further down. So I said between the Central Coast and Sydney is basically one road. What?
Never mind.
Newcastle in the north, then Central Coast in between,
yes,
and then
Sydney
in the south.
Right.
I'm not always right. I'm just stating that's why I said what I said. Well, that's it for this first article. We hope you guys cop back or skip over to the next one. Everybody, you have a great day and talk to you next time.
Bye.